started as a common cough escalated into something else. He continued to cough uncontrollably, and before they knew what was happening, he went still, and that was it. His mother screamed and cried. They rushed him to the hospital, and he was declared dead on arrival. Once upon a time, in the city of Lagos lived a young couple, Jude and Kate. They have been married for 8 years with 4 children. They are a very happy family that shares a very special bond. Love lives in their home. Together, they ran their business and took care of their children. But then, tragedy struck and Jude died. Nothing prepared Kate for the pain she had to go through. It felt as if the world had ended, but she stayed strong for her children. While her husband was still alive, she had a good relationship with her in-laws. She welcomed them into their home and they never had any issues. But after her husband's demise, she saw a version of them that left her confused. She noticed how none of them consoled her, how they were looking at her with so much suspicion on their faces. After his burial, she went back to Lagos with her children. Her in-laws came and told her to hand over everything that belonged to her husband to them. Kate refused because how could they request for a man's property when he had 4 sons? Moreover, everything her husband owned they acquired together: the cars, the houses, the shops, businesses and lands. But to her greatest surprise, their family lawyer came and read it out that her husband said that all his properties should be taken care of by his elder brother whenever he dies. Kate was broken. She wept. How can Jude betray me like this? I have suffered with him to acquire this wealth, so how can he hand it all to his brother? Does it mean I don't mean anything to him? After all these years of living together, I trusted Jude so much. She regretted not registering her own properties in her name. 3 days later, her husband's elder brother moved down to Lagos with his family and told Kate to move to the boys' quarters with her children. As if that was not enough, he took over her business, and in less than 3 months, he ran it down. Her children stopped going to school because their uncle refused to pay, as he complained that their fees were too much. Kate pleaded with him for her to take them to a cheaper school, but he refused and said they should start hawking instead. Gradually, Kate and her kids became mates in their own house, a house she suffered to build with her husband. They now serve her brother-in-law and his family, and his wife never misses any opportunity to make a mockery of Kate and beat her children. Watching her kids cry broke her heart into pieces. Why will daddy do this to us? Her first son David will always ask her. I hate daddy so much. Kate never responded because she didn't have answers to give. When the maltreatment became unbearable, Kate swallowed her shame and called her friend Nora. She cried to her and told her the pain she was going through. Her friend was shocked and asked her to move into her boys' quarters with her kids. At least they could have some peace and not have to serve anyone. After they moved into Nora's house, Nora gave her some money to start up a small business. She would on most days invite her and her children to join them for lunch or dinner. And on days Kate has gone to the market, she would cook and give her children to eat. Nora's husband admires Kate's hustling spirit and encouraged her to keep it up. He told her that he would have loved to help with her children's education, but since you are a bit rough for them. Sir, please don't say that. You and your beautiful wife have done more than enough for me and these boys, and we appreciate your kindness. Don't worry about their education. Even though they are not going to school now, they will soon start. They are my kids. Although their father, my late husband, failed them, I, Kate, won't fail my children. I will give them the best as long as I live. Kate, with her evergreen hustling spirit, started hustling to at least feed her children. They would stay at home while she goes out to the market every morning to sell vegetables and fruits. With time, she started making little money and was able to feed them 3 times daily. She still didn't have the money to send them to school. At some point, she went to the village and reported her brother-in-law to their uncles. She requested that her brother-in-law should at least pay her children's school fees and give them feeding money, but they didn't say anything or do anything to help her. Her brother-in-law gave them some money. They stood by him and closed their eyes to the evil he was doing against his late brother's children. Kate vowed never to go back to them. She continued to hustle and take care of her children. She also started selling fruits in front of the house. She goes to the market and comes back by 5 to take care of her children, then continues selling in front of the house. Her customers increased and she made more sales. She managed to put her first 2 sons in school as she went to the market with the younger ones daily. One day, a car parked in front of her space in the market, and as she ran to sell to the customer, it was her husband's friend's wife. The woman was shocked to see her. They greeted and the woman bought lots of fruits from her. She collected her phone number and promised to call her. In the evening, she called Kate and gave her their address and asked her to come with her children. Mr. John couldn't believe his eyes when he saw his late friend's wife and children. He couldn't believe that his friend Jude could treat his lovely wife so badly that he ensured all they worked for to his brother. Now, see what he has turned these innocent children into. He felt so much pity for Kate. He gave her some money that would be enough to feed them for 1 month, register her children in school, and get all the necessities they need for school. Also, some food stuff like rice, beverages, toiletries, and so many other things. He watched with pain as those children were devouring the food and meat served to them. 2 weeks later, Mr. John called Kate to discuss what line of business she would like to venture into. "Sir, I would love to continue with my old business," she said. Kate and her late husband were selling fabrics in wholesale before his demise. It was Kate's business because she was already in business before they got married. Then, her husband lost his job, and instead of staying at home, he joined his wife in the business, and together they built it into the massive business that he willed to his brother, and he ran it down in less than 4 months. Kate, your husband was a very kind and loving man who helped a lot of people while he was alive. I know how much he gave me when my business suffered. Apart from me, there were so many other people that he touched their lives. And I know you are a caring wife too, because during his lifetime, we were very close and he never for one day complained about you to me. I talked to some of our club members and they promised to help you and your kids. So they asked that I talk to you to know the business you would love to venture into. Kate was so happy, and before she left, Mr. John gave her some food and money. A month later, they invited Kate to their meeting, and at the meeting, they took Kate to a shop filled with different fabric designs. "Kate, this is your shop from today. The goods inside are yours. We have also paid for a container that will be in the country in a month. It's all yours. So when it comes in, you can sell it." Kate screamed. She couldn't contain her joy. "Is this for real?" As tears flowed down her eyes. Those men stood there watching her with so much pity. She thanked them and promised never to disappoint them. Jude's children are our children too. What we are doing for him today, we know very well he would do more if he were to be here. Please, Kate, take good care of yourself and your children. They also gave her some cash gifts and foodstuff. Kate started to do what she knew best, selling fabrics. And in no time, her shop began to overflow with customers. She took her time and visited most of her top customers, informed them she was back in business, and many of them started to patronize her. She took her children to a good school. They moved into a well-furnished three-bedroom flat. She was doing so well in her business, but sometimes she breaks down in tears whenever she remembers what her husband, whom she loved and sacrificed so much for, did to her and her kids. She has been struggling to forgive him, but forgiveness has been so hard. Years later, her children finished secondary school and she sent them abroad to study. Kate somehow became worried that her children might do to her what their father did to her, or that when they all get married, they will abandon her the same way her husband abandoned her and left her at the mercy of his family. She talked to her friend and she gave her an advice on what to do to make sure that doesn't happen. She built a mansion and pleaded with her children that they all will live together no matter what. She told them that she has been struggling to heal from their father's betrayal, so the only way to help herself is for them to live together with their families, and whenever she passes on, they can then move on with their lives. At first, it sounded weird to them because they are all grown and are doing well in their various areas of life. Building good houses is one thing they could comfortably afford for themselves, but they decided to grant this one wish for their mother. They started getting married, and the second son was the first to get himself a beautiful bride. Few months later, the first son, David, found himself a wife. They were a big happy family, but David's wife Jennifer was not comfortable with the way her mother-in-law pays attention to her and her husband. It was as if her mother-in-law was trying so hard to be a mother and a wife to her son. She feels she is meddling in their affairs. She complained to her husband, but David told her that his mom was only caring. Meanwhile, Jennifer is a very wonderful cook. She took over the kitchen and was never tired of cooking. Despite the fact that she goes to work, but she enjoys cooking. On every Saturday, she goes to the market with her co-wives to buy groceries for the house. Then she does the massive cooking all alone. Everyone enjoys her cooking. Kate was not happy because she missed seeing her children enjoy her own food. But since Jennifer became a part of their home, she took over the cooking. Kate tried forcing herself back to the kitchen, but Jennifer told her not to worry, that she is here now. Sometimes, Kate wondered why her food was so delicious. She wondered if there was more to her cooking. The way everyone eats and licks their plate after eating is what she doesn't understand. The way visitors complimented her food leaves her confused. But one thing that surprises Kate is how she never allowed anyone to help her in the kitchen whenever she is cooking. One day, they were all gathered in the dining area eating. After eating, Kate's last son started to cough and demanded for water. Jennifer rushed to the kitchen and got him water. What started as a common cough escalated into something else. He continued to cough uncontrollably, and before they knew what was happening, he went still, and that was it. Kate screamed and cried. They rushed him to the hospital and he was declared dead on arrival. Kate couldn't bear the pain. She accused Jennifer of taking the life of her dear son, but everyone looked at her like she was insane. David was so angry at his mother for accusing his wife wrongly. "Mommy, we all ate from the same cooler with my wife inclusive. How are you now accusing my wife of killing my brother?" Jennifer wept that she is innocent. No one believed Kate. After a few weeks, life in the mansion went back to normal. Jennifer was pregnant and was due for delivery. After her delivery, mother and son were doing well. They all got home, and that night, her newborn slept peacefully but didn't wake up. Jennifer was so sad and broken. They mourned her son and moved on with life because life is for the living. David continued with his business. Somehow, Kate continues to nurse in her mind that Jennifer knows something about the deaths in her family. One hot afternoon, David called his wife and requested that she prepare jollof rice and peppered chicken for him. She cooked the food and took it to his office. David enjoyed himself, and as he was gisting with his wife, he started to have hiccups. Jennifer gave him water he drank, yet the hiccups persisted. She had only gone out to call the secretary to get more water, and on getting back, David went still. She screamed, she cried, she called her brother-in-law, who immediately ran to the office. They rushed him to the hospital and he was also declared dead on arrival. Kate fainted. She couldn't live with this pain. How can she be alive and all her children are dying? Somehow, people started to believe that Jennifer had a hand in the death because they all seemed to give up after eating her food. Kate shouted at her, "You evil woman, what have you done? What did I do to you? Why are you taking the lives of my beloved children?" Jennifer cried with so much pain. "Isn't it enough that I just lost my husband? I am a widow at the age of 26, and you people are accusing me of taking my husband's life. I am innocent. I am innocent. I didn't kill him." My dear listeners and viewers, my question is, do you think that there is something in Jennifer's food that leads to the death of Kate's children? Is she responsible for their death? Watch out for the part 2 of this mind-blowing story. Thank you for listening to my story. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to support my growth. And to my previous subscribers, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate your kindness. Do not forget to on your notification bell for more interesting stories from Amaka's Folk Tales. Bye bye.